Well, I don't
because
mean to jump past this weekend series or anything, but you and I
uh,
have an interesting series coming up next Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. The Battle of the Bay. I'm not even sure if that's the real
is it
name they call
really
it, but
is
I'm
it
calling it
really a
that.
it's going to be a battle? Is it going to be a
Well,
battle?
we'll see. The Oakland A's travel all the way across the Bay Bridge to San Francisco to face
I mean, at
your
least they'll be playing in front
Giants.
of fans. That'll be good. They'll have
That'll be
fans to
good.
play in front of.
That'll be good. The A's lost this afternoon, I believe, 1-0 to Baltimore, which is brutal. But they're 500, which is kind of amazing. I was not expecting my fucking A's to even be close to 500 at this point, but they're scratching out wins here and there, playing the A's way, quote unquote, the A's way, as Mark Kotze called it, which I've heard the Cubs way. I don't think I've ever heard the Sox way necessarily. I've heard even this week I heard Kurt Gibson call it the Tigers way. Essentially, anytime you
Ooh,
hear somebody talking about it, it's about grinding out wins. It's just the cliche, like who the fuck doesn't grind out wins? Like you have to go every strike, every pitch, every at bat. You grind
you
out
hope
wins.
so,
That's how
right?
baseball
You
works.
hope that's what people are doing.
But according to Mark Kotze, the A's are playing the A's way now and winning some
Well,
games here and there.
I do remember Grady, the chief scout in Moneyball, did use the
Mm,
quote, "We're going to get him in here. And we're going to teach him how to play A's baseball."
there it
So
is.
maybe there is an A's way.
Well, apparently there is, but the question remains the existential question. The classic existential question is if a team is 500 but no one is there to see it, are they really 500? Uh, literally
Well, I
last night,
mean, what's the television share on that? Maybe they got a good television share.
yeah. Well, last night in Oakland, there were an announced total of 2,703
I
fans in
I
the
have never
Oakland
heard that, but
Coliseum.
that
Uh,
that was I that hit my phone and I went, "What?"
that mind you, that's the announced attendance, and we
Right.
absolutely know those numbers are fudge. So I really am curious what that actual total was, because if you see the photos of O.co or the Coliseum or whatever the fuck it's called now, it was called McAfee at one point. I've had this whole debate. I have no idea what it's called anymore, but there are almost as many people in that stadium that are going to be listening to this podcast later. I think so. We're rivaling that. Un I mean, I feel bad. I've been to that stadium several times. It's not fun. But there's baseball being played there, which is always fun. It's a football stadium that happens to have a baseball team in it. It's ridiculous. They have food. They have crazy. Usually, the fans are out in the center field bleachers, just drumming away, all sorts of crazy shit happening. Vuvuzelas. I've been entertained there. I think the fans have, and rightly so, they have turned their backs on what the A's are doing right now. I've railed against this all offseason on selling off every asset they can in this perpetual cycle of building up a decent team with some young prospects and getting more out of them than you could ever imagine and turning them into fantastic major league players. But they never have enough to quite get them over the top. And before those players can reach arbitration sometimes, but certainly before they reach free agency, A's don't re-sign them. They trade them off and start the cycle all over again, loading up on young prospects and trying to get through it again. We've seen, like, I've railed against this all offseason. We're exactly in the same spot, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised that the A's are overachieving, even being at 500 as they are right now. I can see why the fans would revolt and not bother showing up. The sad thing that I pointed out on previous episodes is fans not showing up is going to have zero effect on A's ownership or their front office decision making because they are not dependent on in stadium revenue. They're not dependent on ticket sales. They're not dependent on concession sales. Their TV revenue sharing money from the rest of Major League Baseball more than covers their ridiculously small. I believe it's $33 million Major League payroll right now. They are taking in, before they sell one ticket this year, $100 million based on all that revenue sharing that they get from other teams. So they have no incentive to put anything good on the field this year. I don't think they're trying to necessarily put a terrible team out there. They're trying. They made some good trades when they traded off the Mats and everybody else, Sean Mania, that we talked about previously, but they don't need to worry about that. I think they might be a little bit embarrassed that there's such a tiny amount of people actually showing up to games, but I don't think it really matters to them because it certainly doesn't matter on the bottom line. They'll be doing just fine financially. I think it speaks more to, it might even work in their favor if they really want to be getting out of Oakland, as we've chronicled over the last several months. A reason to get them the fuck out of Oakland because they have zero fan support. So they might be self-sabotaging. They might be happy to see no one there because it builds the case to say we need to get out of Oakland and move to greener pastures, the bad pun for the Oakland A's, out to Las Vegas. So just another sad sign of how that could be a fantastic baseball town. It is a fantastic baseball town, but their team has really turned their back on them, and finally the fans are turning their backs on the team. It's just such an ugly situation, and I think we're going to see more terrible crowds like that, or the lack thereof. So buckle up, I guess.
Buckle up, cowboy.
Well, that's all I've got for.
You think maybe they're telling the fans not to show up so they can justify the move to Oakland?
That's my conspiracy theory. I mean, it would work in their favor if they're trying to make the argument that they need to get out of there and go to a place where they're wanted. That's one way to do it. Make sure you put out such a product that people have no faith in, that nobody shows up. So that's pretty cynical, but I don't know. There seems to be some evidence.
Shithole Media.